these randoms keep getting jobs? Don't worry about it. I'ma say it. I can't wait to sing it. I love it. I love it. Go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Not Bland Show. I am your host, Dujane Bland, and what a great show we have for you coming up today. We're going to have Dave Richards on, and we're going to discuss with him some of the things that they have been doing throughout the season to continue to push their program forward. If you look at the numbers and not look at what they've done on the track, there has been improvement after improvement after improvement, and they really did move forward this week, even though they weren't able, to make that consistency of runs. But on that first qualifying session, they gave their opponent a run for the money and was right there. And that's what you have to do in this race season that we've had with the different type of conditions, track conditions we've had, the different type of opponents who have shown up and shown out. It's just been a wacky season, but it's been a great season. From 1 to 16, you just never know, man, who's going to come up, jump up, and bite you. Before we get into everything, of course, we're powered by sportsjourney.com and Everything Nitro. We also want to plug our sponsor here, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Get in the game, ladies and gentlemen. This game is free. You pick your drivers, you win cool prizes. All you got to do is sign up at dragracebracketbonanza.com. It's that easy. And let me tell you, I was dead after second round. I had so much red in my ledger, you would have thought like I was an assassin. It was ugly. It was very ugly. I don't even want to talk about it. I really don't. I'm sure you guys had some things that you would like to have had back too. What's going on, Lonnie? Thank you for showing up. It's my guy, Nitro Performance guy. What's going on, brother? And Scott is in the building. What's up, man? How's it going? We're going to have a great show today, and we have our guest in the green room. We're going to bring him to the forefront. He is your funny car driver. He is the guy that is in the green. It's my man, Dave Richards. How's it going, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I love talking to the up and coming, the people who are working hard behind the scenes to gather and to be a thorn in the big team side. Explain to us how this whole deal with Skag and your teammates there, how did that all come to fruition here?
Actually, it happened last year in Gainesville. Me and my brother Paul Richards, we were running part-time for many years, and it's always been a struggle just trying to get funding to do this. And we had went to Gainesville with a bunch of our buddies, other business owners and friends and family. And I had bumper stickers all over this car, anywhere from $200, $500. I'm also in the pool business, and my biggest competitor is a friend of mine. And he's like, I'll give you $2,500 just to put my name bigger than yours. And I said, go for it. So, and it was fun. We called it the People's Car. And awesome. And one of our sponsors, Southern Lawn, is a Skag dealer. And he happened to be the honorary crew chief in Gainesville last year. Yeah. And he was telling Randy, the owner of Skag, about us, and how he helps us. And Randy's like, I want to meet those guys. So long story short, we just got to talking, and he's like, I just like your guys' story. I like you. And I'm going to figure out how to help you one way or the other. And you hear a lot, you talk to a lot of people, and I was just like, I'm not getting my hopes up. You never know. But sure enough, a week or two later, he calls us, and it kind of just snowballed from there last year. And then in the off season, he's kind of like, let's go all in. And we were scared at first, and weren't sure what to do, and didn't want to commit to something that we couldn't, hold up to our end. And then we finally realized, what are you, crazy? You're going to turn something down like this? So it's been a lot, but it's a lot of fun. And as the weeks have gone on, I'm really starting to enjoy it and feel more comfortable. So it's all good.
Man, it's always great to see the little guy get that break that's needed. And from what I understand now, you go from running a lot of used parts to running a lot of new parts.
Yeah.
What has been the struggle with those new parts with this car and over the season trying to find that consistency?
The struggle really is just the new car that we acquired. It was kind of last minute. Apparently it's not easy just to go out and buy a new Nitro Funny car. Where there's a waiting list on a new car right now over a year long. So
wow.
And then the teams that have them are holding on to them. So some of these teams have 3 cars and they're not even budgeting. We're just looking to we have 1 now. We're trying to get it back up as we speak. But just getting the chassis right for me to fit in it. When we bought it, there was no way I could drive it. So it was just a matter of, we had to move the steering around and the gas pedal around and just lower the seat and stretch it and do everything just so I could fit in it to drive it. And then we've changed some new electronic stuff to the latest and greatest stuff. And there's just lots of little issues in getting it to work right and not have any glitches in the systems with it. And, and all the teams have struggled with it. It's just a matter of getting out there and making laps and working through the bugs. And I feel like we've accomplished a lot in a little bit of time. So it's coming around nicely. But it is nice to have a trailer full of parts and not have to have that worry of, man, if we hurt a motor, we're going to be struggling to make the next lap. So inventory definitely helps things.
Yeah. And, you can see the progress being made. Would it be easy to say that with all this new stuff, it's kind of like starting from scratch? Like you really don't have a real good book of knowledge on this particular chassis and how it responds in each condition. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. That's things that we even struggled with this weekend. Just we're not used to we're running Toyota bodies now, and the spoiler package is different and the wing in the back, and it's just trying to get all that stuff to the right setting and height, without spinning the tires or being too much or not enough or too much and raising the front end. And we had a couple of those issues this weekend, but after a lap, we figured it out. We talked about it, and it's all those little things that you don't know until you race all the time. And then when you get to talking to other teams, oh yeah, we change these every 10 laps, where there's stuff we've been running on our old car from 2018. So it's just, we're learning as we go.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. And fans don't really realize that either. Like, you look at what you see and you kind of call it from there, but there's a whole lot more that goes into getting that car down the racetrack. And it's very interesting. You talk about just the simple things from front to back, your wing and how that's all set up can actually have a huge effect on how the car responds from 0 to 60 feet and then how it responds down track.
Yeah. And just like we had the car scaled and thought it was all set to the right specs, and then come to find out, the way the car was set, it's right. But then when you add more weight in the seat, which I'm a little bigger guy, similar to Hagen, and so we were talking to Hagen's guys about some certain things, the way they set some of the stagger in the car, and we made a couple adjustments because it was just, the car didn't want to go straight; it wanted to go left every time I hit the gas, and it's just talking to other teams and finding out certain things that they do is very beneficial. And just doing it, like one little shim in the front changed the whole car. It's just crazy that you don't know that stuff until you just get to doing it, and then it keeps doing it the same thing every time, and you're like, something's wrong. And it's just stuff like that we're figuring out, but it's promising that it's all coming together. So I'm like I said, I'm real excited that we're going to have a good season.
Oh yeah. And how much of a blessing has it been to just have, I don't think people realize how much help that teams give other teams that are, looking for some answers that maybe they didn't know about. That has to be a huge blessing to have people willing to help you out and to help you get your car on the right path.
Yeah, it really is, because it's nice to see all these guys out at the track, and we've always been known as the underdog, and that's okay, and I'm fine with that. But it's nice to talk to the teams that do it day in, and they've been doing it for years and have won championships and win races and are always at the top of the sport. They just talking to them, they genuinely, like, it feels good to talk to them and like see how happy they are to see us do well. So it's kind of rewarding to see all the hard work that we put in, and the guys that have put the car together for me. Like, they've been busting their butt since right after Christmas. Like, they just been nonstop working so hard to get it right, and it's finally rewarding to see the car doing well. And it makes me happy to see them smiling now, because at first it's like when you're not performing right or good, it's disheartening a little bit, and now that we're doing better, it's like everyone's getting a little more excited, and all their hard work is paying off.
Yeah, it's always nice to see some progress there. With your team, how many are these all the same guys that you normally worked with, or are these, new, or all new, or some new?
I'd say some new, but majority, like our core, has been the same from the beginning, and most of us raced together last year. Being that we're going full time now, it's been a little bit of a struggle. Doing it part time, all of our crew guys, for the most part, had regular jobs, and they would just take off work to come race. But now that we are racing full time, it's been a struggle for a few guys to do that, and we've had a couple guys step down, and it's not like they're never going to come back racing with us again, but they just knew it was best, and I respect them for making that decision to not hinder the team by not being able to stay after, coming in late and leaving early. So that's been tough, but we do have a great core group of guys that are really gelling and working hard together.
Yeah, that's important to have. And as you guys get more laps under your belt, you're going to see that team even gel even more. And I have to say, after the track conditions you guys faced at Route 66, to come out in first round and to be able to go A to B and give your opponent a run for the money after the different vast conditions you had to kind of face with through first qualifying session to fourth, that had to make you feel really good.
It did. It really did, because we had just talked before, like, as a group, like, we just need to go down the track, and if Tasca's going to do what he can do, he's going to outrun us right now, and that's okay. We don't want to miss an opportunity, because if he would have slipped up one little bit, we would have had him, and I'm okay with that. I know there's going to come a time where we could just flat out heads up race, and I look forward to the day where we can just outrun them. But for now, as we continue to learn and grow, we just need to go down the track and just do our own thing, and let a little luck fall in our favor.
Indeed. Now, Dave, what got you into funny car racing?
My father always raced back in the 60s and 70s, match raced on the East Coast. So all my childhood memories, there's always been a funny car in the garage. But I had never really gotten into racing until after high school and college. I always played sports and stuff like that. And then my brother got involved. My older brother, Paul, got more involved, and we started having other people drive the car. And then I started showing interest and just coming out and hanging out. And then I started working on the car. And then I'm like, I want to drive this thing. And everyone's like, yeah. And so it took like 3 years of, I finally got my chance to even make a 100-foot hit in it. And it took about 3 years to get my license. And that's kind of how it all started. I never raced anything but a nitro funny car. I've never done anything but that, other than my BMX bike back when I was a kid.
Man, so you guys see that it can be done. You don't have to necessarily, drive a stock car before you get into a funny car. You can do that if you want to. It's there. It probably takes a little bit of tenacity and hard work, but Dave Richards shows it can be done.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, it was already in my family, and I was already there, and I didn't. That made it a little easier for sure, but it's just one of those things. I really wanted to do it, and just kept going for it, and I just had to be patient. And then I had to at least show that I could do it halfway decent for my brother to even let me keep trying and not just wasting money just to let me go have a joyride.
Yeah. I have to ask you about the Pro Superstar Shootout and what you thought of that. And it was a different atmosphere. It seemed like everybody pretty much enjoyed it. But what was your biggest takeaway from that?
I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Just the laid back atmosphere. It was just it was fun. It was more like racing. I used to race in the NHRA days. Or we raced in the NHRA a long time ago, and it was just more laid back. So that was nice. It was nice just to have a nice preseason test, and just the event was cool. It was just kind of like an old school track, but it was packed. I mean, the fans were there, and it was just a neat experience. And then for me, anyway, to be involved in that and to be included in that was like a huge thing for me, because it's like these are the superstars of the sport, and then there's me. Like I'm not even. It just that was neat to be included in that, to see my name on the list of funny car drivers and see my name on that list was probably one of my favorite personal things about it all. But it was nice to get some laps in, and like I said, that when we got the new car this year, we only had about 3 weeks to get it built and get it to Bradenton. So that's hats off to all my guys for working so hard. I mean, they work 7 days a week, just till midnight, just getting it done. And we showed up, and a lot of people said we weren't going to make it, and we did.
Man, you guys have been under the gun since February, having to get that thing ready to go in such a short time. And then it seems like every race here we have some type of weather, or there's some type of schedule change. And I'm sure with the TV times, the turnarounds have kind of put some pressure on your young team as well. But you guys have fared and showed out pretty well considering the circumstances. I mean, we could be talking about blowing up engines and oiling down racetracks, and you guys have come out and been flawless as possible and not oiled down racetracks, dealing with all these different type of elements that have thrown a young team to the left or the right in this early, season.
Yeah, no, I feel like I said, I feel like my team has done a great job. I feel like this is such a cool year for me, for myself, to be able to drive it and be under the full-time spotlight and have unlimited resources and get to do. We're not lacking anything, and that's really cool. It puts more pressure on me not to go out there and mess up. But I feel like after this race weekend, I was the most comfortable I've been in the car. So I'm really getting excited about the rest of the year. But I was going back to my crew chief, Jay Reisky. This is his first shot at being a crew chief, and he's always been car chief or mechanic on teams for 20 years. And he's a younger guy, and I feel like we both joke about it, we're just the nobodies that are getting our chance now. And I'm hoping one day, and I joke with him, well, hopefully one day I'm going to be John Force and you're like Austin Coyle, they got started in or really hit their heyday in their 40s. So we're getting a little late start, but I don't know. It's just everything. It's still hard to believe that this is all really happening. It's just a dream come true. And I just feel really blessed to be able to be the one that got involved in this.
Yeah, it is. It's really awesome to see. Like I said, I love seeing the little guy get his opportunity. It's great to hear that you have a young crew chief. I've been talking about that for several years, having more young individuals step up and be crew chiefs. And, it's great with this sport because it's not like the NFL or the NBA where, it's almost a win now type of thing. You don't get that opportunity to grow. But in this sport, you have an opportunity because people get it. Most people get it. And you'll have that opportunity to grow and you two growing together, we could see something special here develop in this young season here. We're only in the second race of the second quarter, so we've got a lot of time and a lot of great tracks to go to, and we're definitely, I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing you guys rattle off a couple of round wins.
I hope so. That's the plan.
Now, you said you played stick and ball sports. Do you still follow stick and ball sports?
Honestly, I don't as much anymore because I'm so involved in racing. It's just like follow racing, and that's all. With my spare time, that's all I really have time to do. I've got 2 young kids, so they take up a lot of my time, and which is great. But it's like at the end of the day, I just kind of check in what's going on with NHRA, and I've really fallen off watching, NFL and Major League Baseball as much. I mean, I'll watch it, but I really don't follow the headlines like
right.
I do anyway.
A drag racer is a drag racer. I asked the same question to Camry Caruso, and she's all racing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
It just consumes you. It's hard to think about it other than that.
I'll ask you this. What is the in this whole thing, finally getting everything that you need, what is the biggest thing that you've learned so far throughout these, this quarter and a half of the season?
Biggest thing I've learned, I feel like I don't know if I've learned it or I'm trying to learn it. I'm just trying to enjoy it all and not let the pressure of everything take away the fun part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to enjoy it, and then it's already man, it's going by fast, and I'm trying to slow things down and just enjoy it all. But it's been I don't know. It's hard to answer that one. I feel like I don't know. Biggest thing I've learned, I guess, just enjoy it, man. Just take one day at a time.
That's awesome. Look, I am elated for your opportunity. I'm really looking forward to continue to watch you this season. And if you would, tell the fans where they can follow you at and keep up with you and your team throughout this NHRA 2024 season.
Yeah, we have Instagram at Dave Richards FC, and then also just Dave Richards on Facebook. And we do, we post stuff every race weekend, updates and pictures and photos. So there's always cool stuff to check out.
Well, like I tell Chris King, keep chopping wood. You guys are going to get there. The round wins are coming. And I can't wait to have you back on the show again to talk about your round wins here in the season.
Yeah, me too. Anytime.
Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Dave Richards, everybody. Man, what a race weekend we had. And you talk about people like Dave Richards. I saw here Drag Racing Mayhem talked about TJ Zizzo. I mean, to come out and to qualify number one, they were the first ones out of the box with a 73. And they came right off the trailer running that. Look, it's because they prepare. And so you can't tell me that it can't be done if you're a small team. Look at, Terry Totten didn't have the great weekend this weekend, but he sure enough has had some pretty good days. You look at, what was it? I had it right here. I'm sorry. You look at Blake Alexander, a team that is running pretty well. They were very consistent, went to the semifinals. I mean, it's amazing what we're seeing from these teams here. You look at, for instance, you look at what we saw from Kyle Wartzel getting in at the 15 spot. And I know it's 15, but man, Brittany Force did not make the show, people. Brittany did not make the show. It tells you how hard and difficult this is, especially with the track conditions. I felt like teams kind of got a little bit off and did not judge the track very well. Tried to give it a little bit more than it was used to, but you know what the problem was? for Brittany, once you get behind like that and you haven't made a clean run, you're kind of in no man's land. And when you're in no man's land, that's never good. And you're leaving up to one run, hoping that you can get it down the track, and you haven't done it all day. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. And I agree, Lonnie, it is good to have fresh blood as far as crew chiefs. I'm very excited about that. It's much needed. And that's the only way that this sport, especially in that department, is going to grow. It's important. Sean Reed, for example. Look at how consistent. If you go back and look at the numbers, and the Nitro Performance guy can tell you about it, their numbers have been absolutely consistent. Lonnie said, yes, there's other sports. Has absolutely been consistent. Yes, the 76, then the 73. Thank you, Dave, our stat guy. And that drag racing reference is absolutely amazing. You guys need to check that out. That's going to be my go-to from now on when it comes down to stats. But it actually is something to watch this year with these little teams, so to speak, low-funded teams. I'm going to come out and say I thought Travis Shoemake made a mistake not running the first qualifying session. Because if he at least ran the first qualifying session, thank you, Lonnie. Dave Mercer stepped up too. Another guy who I picked in the first round to win. It was one of my upsets. And then it went after that. Yeah, Sean Reed is looking absolutely exceptional. Those two guys with a guy in Ryan Elliott, who I believe is another one that's going to be a crew chief someday with Rob Wendland. They have had that car super consistent, running very well. Dave says Brittany Force 2024 qualifying position 11th, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 15th, 17th. That tells you how inconsistent that car is. I still think they're trying to find whatever it is that they want to do with it. Personally, I applaud David Grubnick for sticking to the grindstone and continuing to press forward, because again, I am a big, huge, proprietary thought process of, look, if you are not you're not taking steps back to move forward, you are standing still. You cannot stand still in any class of drag racing. You will be passed by. I think after a few championships, we saw something like that happen to Greg Anderson. He got caught. There's people that you see, they end up getting caught. If you don't take the time to take a few steps back to move forward, you lose. But I think whatever it is, they haven't figured it out. Something is not cooperating, because you look at her qualifying positions, 1st, 2nd, and then we have 5th, and then we have these bottom half of the ladder. Just shows that they don't have it together yet. Reaction times needed to work for the teams. They have averaged a yeah. Lonnie says, I still contend if TJ Zizzo had budget to run all season like he used to do in the 90s, he'd be top 10. I agree. They need more funding. And maybe, hopefully, with these few races that they do run, kind of like we saw with Hector Arana, we saw that a little bit too with Clay being able to, get more sponsorship. Rick Ware stepping in as well. That was really huge for them. I can't explain, how great TJ Zizzo would be if they had more funding. And I agree with you. Top 10, easy. said our first was the second session Pomona event. So I think they are driving the struggle bus more than anything. You're 100% right. And it showed this weekend. And I know conditions were wacky or whatever, but it showed this weekend how ridiculously off that they are. Drag Race Mayhem said, I'd say Max Savage was most important to that team than many realized. That could be a possibility. That definitely could be a possibility. Yeah, because it's been a struggle for sure. A super big time, ugly struggle. Yep. Yeah, you're right. 18. Foley just missed it too, man. Just missed it. Agreed. And I'm telling you, in time, Dave Richards is going to show what funding can do. You guys heard the complications they're having and learning the car, all these different things that they're working out. So in time, I think they'll be right there as well. I mean, Clay has exactly been a Justin Ashley level of performance either. True. They've had their moments where they've shown big, and then they have their moments where they've kind of wet the bed a little bit. Kind of like me. I pissed down my leg in Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back to the drag racing right at the end of this show. But I've got to have my guy who is one half of the urban sports scene. You can catch that on YouTube. They are on various nights, usually at 8 o'clock. It is my guy, Ray Jeezy. What's up, baby?
What's going on, Dujanae? It's a pleasure to be on your platform, my brother. I'm glad I finally made it.
Yes, sir. With this playoffs going on, man, I'm telling you, we've seen some really good basketball. We've seen some teams that we did not expect to be in this position. We're going to have some really good conference finals here coming up, starting tonight at 8 o'clock with the Celtics and the Pacers. This is going to be an interesting setup and an interesting matchup here because the Celtics don't do well in games where they have been sitting for a long period of time. The Pacers are kind of still in a rhythm. I think this is the time where the Celtics can show that they can be consistent and come out and be strong early. But I have a feeling that we're going to see some of the same stuff we've seen from those Celtics when they sit, and the Pacers are going to come in and punch them right in the mouth.
That's a good, analysis on this because I'm thinking a little bit differently, to be honest. We got the whole WWE theme. You know, you and I, we talk wrestling, and we try to see who's going to finish the story. It's going to be a new champion. My man Anthony Edwards, he looks like he might be the new tribal chief, but we're going to talk in the spirit of WWE. Let's tag team this, Dujanae, because my thought process is this. Who's got the coaching edge in this series? Is it the Celtics or the Pacers? Think about Rick Carlisle, his experience level. Think about Joe Mazzulla and how he's been out-coached back-to-back years by Eric Spoelstra. And luckily, he faced the Heat team that had just too many injuries to overcome. But who do you think has the coaching edge? I'm going to go with the Pacers on that one.
I'm agree with you in that. I believe it is the Pacers. What we have seen from a Celtics basketball team is that their big three has a bad tendency of coming up missing at the most important times in the most important games. The Celtics are 15 and 14 at home over their last three seasons. That's bad in the playoffs. 15 and 14. They are 2-0 though in game one. And both of those games they've won by 20 plus points. Pacers are 2-5 on the road in postseason, but the consistency level for the Celtics always comes back up to the top. And I think with the coaching ability of the Pacers and their defense will be very imperative on them trying to win this series. And I think they can take game one tonight.
You think the Pacers can take game one?
Yes.
Okay. The Pacers, I believe, could take game 1 or game 2. I think they have to split if they want a chance. I don't think you can get down 0-2 like you did against New York. And if you look at the regular season matchup, these two teams split. I don't know if you remember, but the very beginning of the season, Tyrese Halliburton was out with an ankle injury, and the Celtics put up 155 on the Pacers. And it wasn't even close to where T.J. McConnell, I think he was the leading scorer for the Pacers that night. He only had 18 points. But then the next 3 matchups were close. Again, these two teams split. Halliburton played in all 3 of those games. Halliburton during that time was on a tear, if you remember. He had multiple 40-point performances. He led the Pacers in scoring 12 out of 15 games in the month of November up until December 7th. And during that span, they played the Celtics 3 times, 2 of those games in which they won. So Tyrese Halliburton obviously is the key. But another area I'm looking at is bench play, Dujane. Think about this. You look at T.J. McConnell coming off the bench. You look at Obi Toppin coming off the bench for the Pacers. Then you got guys like Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard. We already gave the edge to the Pacers in coaching. What about the bench? I give the Pacers the edge there as well. How about you?
Yes, because of the consistency of their bench. That's been the story of basically these playoffs. Defense and how well your bench comes off and plays. Mm-hmm. And I think the Celtics, although I believe it is their series and their playoffs to lose, their bench is not very consistent. They rely on the big 3 a lot. And are we going to see Tatum go into hibernation as we are in the conference finals, a big moment? Are we going to see him go into hibernation in some games? Who is going to consistently step up on that bench for the Celtics? We haven't really seen that. And they honestly, to be honest, they've been tested over the last, and I thought they weren't going to make it out of this last round. Mm-hmm. And I really think that's where the pressure lies for them, is that consistency of the rotation coming off the bench and them being able to maintain, because I can tell you right now, the Pacers bench can clearly outscore the Celtics bench.
100%. Now, think about this. KP, he may be back, Kristaps Porzingis, for game 3, which does bring a different dynamic to the Celtics. That takes Al Horford to the bench, and that brings more scoring and defense off the bench. However, you got to think he's been out for a few weeks. It may take him some time to shake off some rust and get integrated back into the lineup. Yeah. So I won't count on KP having a huge impact maybe until game 4 or game 5, and who knows what the series will look like. But if you look at the starting 5, you mentioned Jason Tatum. If the Pacers decide to start Siakam on him, I think that's a good matchup for the Pacers. I'm not saying that Siakam can shut him down, but I think he could limit Tatum to where Tatum can't necessarily dominate as he did against the Cavaliers. I love Tatum. He's an offensively gifted guy. However, he can get rattled in the playoffs. And if you get physical with him, as the Heat did, again, you can seem to throw him off his game to where you mentioned he may seem a bit non-existent for a star. So that means you have to rely on your other guys, of course, Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday. But even there, you got Nesmith. Who's he going to start with? I'm okay with him checking Derek White. And then that leaves Jaylen Brown versus Tyrese Halliburton.
Yes.
Drew Holiday will have the clear matchup advantage against Nembhard. However, we know that Drew Holiday, I feel like, is more a team guy. He's a defender. He can score. He can fill it up. But I feel like he gets his teammates involved. I think Nembhard against him, maybe that's a wash. So right now, the Pacers are in a good position to go in. They're not expected to win. All the pressure's on the Celtics. And I just like the Pacers in this series. I'm sorry. Even though of course, if the Celtics were advanced, it would be great to see them get one. Going back to the Bird days, we're of the age. Remember, the Celtics were dominating back in the late 80s. And it would be great for Boston as a city. The Patriots, Bruins, Red Sox, they have that championship pedigree in that area. But I like what Indiana's building, and I just feel like they're that team that nobody wants to play, that Cinderella type of team, that March Madness feel.
Yeah. I'm taking the Pacers in 7. I know our guy Serge the Shooter ain't gonna like that, but I'm taking the Pacers in 7. I just think there's too many. There's the factor of coaching, bench, and the way the Pacers collectively play team basketball is going to make a difference. And like you said, those matchups you brought up are going to make a difference. And I just, especially if they can come out in game 1 Pacers come out in game 1 and get a win, that's going to be huge going forward for this series. But I think it's the Pacers in 7. Who you got winning the game tonight?
I'm actually going to go with the Celtics. You mentioned the stat. Game 1, the Celtics are generally pretty good. And this is new territory for a young Pacers team. I think that they evolve as they go along in these playoffs, which is why the Garden was difficult for them in terms of getting that advantage they needed. Like, I feel like they could have closed the series out, but they get blown out instead. So I expect them to be a little shell-shocked by Boston game 1. Don't get it twisted, though. Again, I'm picking the Pacers just like you are. So the Pacers would have still game 1 tonight, I wouldn't be shocked at all. But I think that the Celtics, based on their experience and where they've been the last 2 seasons, I think they'll be ready to go game 1 tonight, and their experience will prove to be the determining factor in this game.
Now we got game 2, which I thought it would be the Thunder. As a Lakers fan, I'm glad the Nuggets are gone by. Sick of y'all,
bro.
Sick of y'all. This Timberwolves and Mavericks matchup is very intriguing. Both teams are pretty good as far as offensively. Who do you give the edge to in this particular series as far as defense goes? Because I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this game, in this series, is the level of defense being played. And the Mavericks have done an excellent job with defense. That's why the Thunder are home.
100% true. They have stepped it up in comparison to last year, and that's in large part because of the ex-Wizard Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. These guys have played an essential role into making the Mavericks an overall better defensive team, because many feel as though Luka and Kyrie are not the best defensive players as much as they bring to the table offensively. But these guys on the back end, it's hard. If you watched anytime the Thunder, whether it's Dort or whether it was Chet Holmgren, whoever it was, they tried to get into the lane. It seemed like the guys collapsed. PJ Washington, it didn't matter. These guys, they played excellent team defense. So even if you passed and tried to kick it out to the wingman for an open shot, it seemed like they were able to get back to that spot. So I love the team defense. However, the Timberwolves got some dogs. Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards, of course, who he took that assignment. Like, I want Jamal Murray. And he said afterwards, he said, I locked down Jamal in that fourth quarter. I took on that. And now he's already prepared to go at Kyrie. He talks a lot. I love his game. I feel as though defensively, Naz Reid, who I feel is just as tough, Jaden McDaniels, I think the edge slightly goes to Minnesota because of their mentality on defense, whereas I feel the Mavericks are more of an offensively minded squad, first and foremost.
My biggest problem with this whole team is Luka. Luka takes too many ill-advised shots for me. And most of those ill-advised shots come out of rhythm from the three-point line. And they normally do not go down. He's a liability at time on defense. Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, is playing lights out. And he's got that team very much energized. I think this is another 6 or 7 game series, but I really like the Mavericks' chances over the Timberwolves.
You should. They're playing excellent basketball. Got arguably 2 of the best individual scorers in the league. But I told you, Anthony Edwards, he looks like the new tribal chief. Everywhere, every city he goes in, he says, acknowledge me. He's in the locker room telling attendants, I'll see you for game 7. And that's exactly what he did. You got to love his swagger. Yes. But if you're looking at experience, championship experience, Kyrie Irving, I feel like, has the most out of all the guys. I know when it comes to coaching, you and I just talked about on the Eastern Conference side, Chris Finch, been an assistant on many squads, coached to a G League title many years ago, over a decade ago. Yeah. But you got to give the edge to J. Kidd on the coaching, and because J. Kidd played the game at such a high level, right, at the collegiate level as well as the NBA. And really, he helped build that Milwaukee Bucks team that you saw go win a chip. So I think J. Kidd has the coaching edge. I think he's been played a significant role in making sure the mentality of the team changed. He said we're going to be a better defensive team next season, and they're accomplishing that. So I do give the edge to the Mavs too. But like you said, this could go either way. It's one of those series that's really difficult, and I'm just excited that on both sides we have matchups that could each go 7 games, and it gives that intrigue that the NBA is lacked for pure hoops fans like me and you. Like we're hoop heads, so we're good. But the average fan is like, there's no LeBron, there's no KD, it's no the star power still. Anthony Edwards, like I said, he acknowledged that dude.
And Kyrie is playing ball, man. Kyrie had a lot to do with the reason why they're here. You know, there's a lot of nice young. I mean, outside of Kyrie, there's a lot of nice young up and coming star talent that I believe will be back to a not more of a one-man show, but more of a collective around the league type of there's stars in a lot of places. And I'm really enjoying seeing new faces. My mom said, I'm just happy to see somebody new. I'm tired of seeing the same old people. And this is, I mean, you talk about fresh. This is as fresh as it can be. Outside of the Celtics, this is the freshest that it can be. We could have 2 new teams in the finals here that haven't been here in a very long time. So I'm really enjoying where the NBA is right now. And this series, to me, though, is probably the most intriguing. There's so many factors here. These guys we know on both sides can shoot the lights out. It's just who's going to shut down who's going to be the deciding factor. I think turnovers are big. And I think rebounding will be key in this Mavs Timberwolves series.
Let me ask you about the supporting cast, because peep this. If you look at all the playoff games for each team, on the Dallas side, they have Kyrie and Luka, but PJ Washington also has led the team in scoring on 3 different occasions, and they were all against OKC. But if you look at the Timberwolves, it's Cat and it's Anthony Edwards. So as much as I like Jaden McDaniels, I like Nasri, I like these guys, I like the supporting cast for the Mavericks. I mean for the Timberwolves. I think if you got to give an edge to the supporting cast, maybe you might want to lean toward the Mavericks for the simple fact that, again, PJ Washington has kind of arrived as that third wheel.
I agree. You look at Washington. Coming in, really giving them a spark. You got experience on their bench as well with Moncrief Morris. You've got some really nice young talent to add to that. Tim Hardaway Jr. is in that mix. The Josh Greens are in that mix. There's so many guys. And when you think of, well, what about the Timberwolves bench? Not a lot of people come to mind like that. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, who will be the ones to step up? We know that those guys have come in and, like you said, made plays and have been deciding factors in series. And to be honest, when you think about that, you have to give the edge to the Mavs in that regard, because their bench has consistently come in and consistently won them games easily. We haven't seen that from the Timberwolves. That youth is definitely of the item on the list there for them. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think with that, Mavs bench could be the deciding factor there on who wins that series.
I totally agree. I wonder if they're just going to let Anthony Edwards get his, because SGA, he killed him. He killed him.
Yes.
There was no stopping him. I don't care who they ran at him. He scored at will, I felt like, against Dallas. So maybe it's Anthony Edwards. We know he's going to get his. But these other guys, like you're talking about, they're going to have to beat us.
Right. And, in this league, we have the ability to play zone now. So, we'll just let Anthony eat. We'll play zone and hope that nobody else beats us. And I think this is the thing with the NBA too. Sometimes guys beat their head against the wall doing the same stuff, and they get beat by it once, and they think that they can just keep running that same stuff out there. I don't mind zone, But I think if you're getting carved up with it, you can't keep playing that all series. Like, you're going to lose doing that. Like, it's kind of like when we think about football and you're playing a zone defense and the guys, the quarterback's gutting you to death, and you just continue to run that crap out there for 4 quarters, and then one come and sit at the podium and scratch your head and well, they were just better than us. No, dummy. You kept running a defense that they were just gutting you up, and you chose not to change.
Coaching adjustments, that happens at times. That sounds like the Washington Commanders right there. Sounds like
Facts.
a Del Rio type defense.
Mr. January 6th.
It's that sounds like Greg Minuski, man. That sounds like it's all too old that we see that around here. But you're right, though. This is the most intriguing. It's crazy, though, because Dujane, we had a playoff preview show. Me and my man Wole, Urban Sports Team. We had my homie Just Blaze on there, and we agreed. The 3 of us agreed. If somehow the Celtics and Mavericks were to make it to the finals, that would be great for the NBA in terms of entertainment value. You got the Kyrie versus the Celtics factor in there.
Yes.
I would love to see that. But right now we have Pacers, and it sounds like you're leaning toward the Mavs, Pacers, Mavs.
That's a great series, too.
It is.
2 great coaches, teams that both have great benches. Both coaches have done an excellent job of having great rotations. And it would be a chess match. It would definitely be a chess match with those 2 teams. And I'd be here for it. Definitely be here for it. But it looks like either way, no matter who makes it, we're going to have a great NBA Finals.
100%. So are we going to see the new face of the league emerge from the finals? It could be Luka versus Tatum. It could be Anthony Edwards versus Halliburton. It could be a combination of these 4 guys. What you think about that? Do you think that the league is LeBron going to pass that torch? So much talk about his son in the daggone news when he has only averaged 4 points a game in college, but that's another subject. But I don't know if LeBron is ready to pass that torch a la Roman Reigns passing it to Cody. So I'm guessing that we may not necessarily see it in the mainstream media, but for us, whether it's Ant or whether it's Halliburton or even Luka, I think the new face of the league will emerge a champion this season, 2024, bro.
I agree. And I don't think the torch has to be passed. I think you run up and you take it.
Ooh.
That's my whole thing. I think you run up and you take it. I mean, you can't deny what LeBron did in the playoffs. But again, it wasn't enough to win. And you can point fingers at coaches and all that other garbage. But the bottom line is it wasn't enough to win. And, it's a combination of things. You can put up all the great points and all the great stats all you want to, but it's all about chips. And when you got guys that are playing in the fashion that these young guys are playing, with the swagger and the attitude and the moxie that these guys are playing, and there's no torch that needs to be passed. You go up and you take it from them. And I don't think it will be denied that there are those individuals, whoever they may be, that win in the finals. They're definitely at least one of the faces of this league and will be the new faces of this league. LeBron only has a little bit more time left, probably 3 years. And I'm pushing it 3 years with no injuries, because we know what happened after Kobe got injured. It just wasn't the same. The Achilles injury changed everything. So I don't think it has to be passed. I just think you have to go up and you have to take it.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, Ant Edwards is the guy to do it. But again, right now we're not seeing that being the outcome. Yeah. But he is poised. I mean, when you talk about taking it, like I said, he has that moxie, that swagger.
Yes.
When he goes into another arena, he demands attention. So it's going to be just amazing to watch, man. I'm going to be chopping it up with you. I always tune in. I tune in as Urban Sports Team. So a lot of times you see me comment, you don't know who it is, but it's mostly me. So it's been a fun time because you're a Lakers fan, and I feel like you're being objective in this conversation. Even though Jokic, he kind of took it last year, but many say he's not the face of the league. He's too boring. He doesn't care about basketball as much as some others. And then he goes home to Serbia after the season. We need somebody else, and people are loving these guys. Outside of Tatum is kind of like that too. Pretty reserved. Yeah. Pretty reserved. So We'll see, but I love Halliburton. Halliburton's another one. If you get a matchup of the Pacers and Timberwolves, the amount of chirping in that series, man, that'll be like the second coming of Reggie on the Pacers side and KG on the Timberwolves side. So indeed, I'm excited for all these franchises, though. Great for the NBA, great markets to be able to promote. OKC was right there with them too.
Indeed. And I'm happy that it looks like NBA will be back on NBC where it belongs.
The music, yeah.
We get our music back.
Hey, we some real old heads.
Yes.
I was telling my friend that we need Steve Snapper, rest in peace. But Bill Walton, we can get him. We can get Costas, maybe Marv Albert to come out.
I know.
Just get that old.
There
school.
was no foul there.
That was dope. I missed
that. Ray Jeezy, tell them where they can follow you at and where they can catch y'all's content.
Oh, 100. Again, appreciate you, Dujane, for having me as part of your show. Again, it's all love, man. You're your family. And check us out at Urban Sports Scene, all of your social media platforms on X and IG. Just follow us on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button at Urban Sports Scene. Check out our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. And you see my handle for X right there at Urban Sports_Ray. I'm at Urban Sports Ray on IG. We talk all sports. We even talk baseball. We got one Orioles fan, one Nats fan. Who you, a Braves fan, Dujane?
I'm a Nats fan.
Oh, my man. All right.
Yeah.
We on the same page. And that,
I hated the Orioles. Never liked them from the jump. I was waiting for DC to get a team.
My God. Hey, so we talk all sports. Even talk a little hockey here and there. Of course, WWE, HBCU, yes, whatever it is. We talk. Hey, I watch your NHRA coverage. We also like soccer. I do, at least. Premier League. But Wole, that's not, it's supposed to be his thing, based on where he's from. But he's different. So yeah,
we got to get y'all out to a NHRA race.
Yeah, live. That's where it's the best for me. I'm not gonna lie, but watching, I'm on Fox Sports 1 all the time, so I see coverage. But I leave that to the experts like yourself, brother. But appreciate you again, man. Check us out again at Urban Sports Scene. Holla at us.
Thank you, Ray. This will be it's the first time, but it won't be the last time, my brother.
Hey, my man.
Ray Jeezy, y'all. It's been a great show. I appreciate all y'all participation. And again, plug our sponsor here, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Pick your drivers, win cool prizes. There's a lot of cool prizes on the line this past weekend. It is free to sign up. And make sure you get the email. Those stat sheets that come out are pretty helpful. I shared one on my Twitter, or the artist formerly known as Twitter, this weekend. Well, what a great weekend. The Route 66 Nationals. What can I say? I'm just happy to see parity. We are seeing true parity. And can't complain about that. We're seeing a lot of those young teams, those underfunded teams come out and just lay the hammer down. I'm excited about it. And I think you have to sign up for their email. I think that's all you have to do. I'll confirm that and try to look it up and see how I did that. But I think all you have to do is sign up to receive email from them, and you will get those sheets. I'm looking forward to Epping. Hopefully Epping is not raining and dreary and a mess like it was before. Hopefully we can get some good numbers out of there. And I think we're going to see some teams that have been struggling get up there and possibly have a good time. Hopefully it's not too hot. We don't want that. But I'm looking forward to it. And we have that race in Epping is May 31st through June 2nd. Well, next week there will be no show as I will be traveling. I am going back to DC to visit my family. So we will be off next week. But we will be back the following week. So we will be talking about Epping. Again, this has been the Not Bland Show, powered by SportsJourney.com and Everything Nitro, sponsored by Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. Like, subscribe to the show, subscribe to our YouTube page, It's greatly appreciated. Helps with the numbers. And thank you, guys. Thanks for your participation. And until next time, we're out of here.